Dear African child, 100 love letters from me to you, Petronella Munenja, about the book. The words poured into this book carry the wisdom I yearned for countless times, hoping desperately that someone would share with me. Each page is a testament to the lessons I have painstakingly accumulated throughout my journey. I have been incredibly fortunate to have walked a path that saw me bring together two most unlikely places in the world: the rural growth point of Gokwe in Zimbabwe and the elite University of Oxford. Along this extraordinary journey, I encountered hurdles, stumbled upon failures, seized opportunities, and navigated through diverse situations. Through it all, invaluable lessons have built me into the person I am today. With profound gratitude, I share this experience and insights through the medium of letters. They are not only meant to uplift you and inspire you, but to also get you thinking, self introspecting, develop a sense of curiosity, and in some instances, get you laughing. Within these heartfelt lines lies a gentle urging to challenge the world around you, to question deeply, and to recognize your intrinsic value. Within the depth of your being, you possess an indescribable marvel, a masterpiece painted by the hand of a higher power. This book aims to remind you of that truth incessantly while also holding you accountable to the person you ought to be in order to achieve that which is within you. Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things life. I am so excited about today's video because we're going to be talking about my book, Dear African Child. I know that for those of you who follow me, this video comes almost a year too late because this book was actually launched in Harare in April last year, and I meant to do this video. I meant to record, I meant to talk about the book, the story behind it, the journey of writing it and all that, but life was life in here. And if you want to know more about how my life was life in and what was going on and the accountability partners that God has given me that actually got me back to this place of recording videos and doing the things that I love, which is writing, speaking to you, and thinking about all things life. If you want to know more about that, you can watch the video that I recorded, I think about 2 weeks back. So all that aside, let's get to today's video. We are talking about the book, Dear African Child, 100 Love Letters from Me to You. I think let's start with the background. How did this book come about and how did I choose to call it Love Letters and why 100 of them? So, let me talk about the process of how I got to this place. So, as many of you know, okay, this is being very optimistic of me and very very presumptuous of me. I think that's the right word. This is me being very presumptuous that you know who I am. Okay, so if you don't know who I am Petronella Munenja. I am an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a researcher, I'm a consultant, and I wrote a book called From Gokwe to Oxford, The Girl Who Dared to Dream, which talked about the journey that I have lived. I was born in Gokwe, Zimbabwe, one of the rural areas that you can't even find on a map. It's just backward, and life is how you would expect it to be in rural Africa. I was a girl who was born into this environment. I grew up in this environment, and at some point in my life I found myself at the University of Zimbabwe, which was amazing, and it just became this launch pad for me. I just believed that, you know what, if I could grow up in Gokwe and actually got to the University of Zimbabwe, that is a miracle on its own. Imagine what I can do with the whole world, you know. And I just took that as a launch pad, you know, to just pursue my dreams and do all the other things that I wanted to do. And I finished my first degree, my first master's at UZ, and then I applied for my second master's at Oxford, which I got. So I did a 2-year a master's program at Oxford, and then I finished that, and then I got a job working in the UK. So this is a very complicated journey for a young African girl to walk. It's everything that I did was breaking new ground for me. Everything that I did, every space that I stepped my foot in always superseded my expectations. Well, it was always more than where I was coming from. It was always more than I would have ever expected for myself. So the more I grew, the more I evolved, the more I realized that, oh my God, life is full of possibilities. Life is full of possibilities. Life will step aside and let you pass if you know where you are going. Life will accommodate you in the breadth of your dreams and the width of your dreams. Life will accommodate all of you if you are strong enough and if you possess the energy and the passion to contend with it. So I think this journey that I walked, I made so many mistakes. I made so many foolish decisions. I made so many right decisions also. I made good calls. I made bad calls. I got entangled with the right crowd, the wrong crowd. I developed relationships with mentors at different stages. I developed friendships with different people from different backgrounds. I just learned, it's been my entire life has been one giant learning experience. So when I got to this place where I had finished writing my book, From Gogo to Oxford, I have told the story, I've given the biography, everybody knows how that journey went. I'm now at this place where I'm like, I need to talk about the lessons that I've learned. How did I get to this place? What did I learn? If I could sit down with somebody who says, Petronella, I want to be like you, I want to go to Oxford. Perhaps you don't want to go to Oxford like I did, but you want to pursue your dreams. Perhaps you don't even want to do that. You want to start a business, whatever it is. If I had to sit down with somebody and have a conversation with them and tell them the things that I've learned, what would I say to them? What would I say to the girl who is at the University of Zimbabwe for the first time, using a laptop for the first time, never having seen one before, never having lived in an environment where you have a bathtub and showers that work? What would I say to that girl as she contends for her identity? What would I say to the person who finds themselves the first time in a European city? Like I found myself in Oxford in 2019. What would I say to that person who says, I don't understand their accents, they make reference to political issues and historical things that I have no idea what they're talking about? What do I say to that person who is navigating their experience in this place of access and affluence? What do I say to the person who has found themselves in corporate UK, corporate America, corporate Australia, this black girl, this black boy trying to fit in, and they're struggling to fit in? They feel like the world is just swallowing them whole. They feel like everybody is judging them by the color of their skin, by the tone of their voice, by their accent. How do I help them navigate this? Because I have been that girl, I've been that girl who did not know how to use a laptop. I've been that girl who did not know what a pizza tastes like until she was a teenager. I've been that girl who just got plunged into Oxford, no idea about the left, the right, work, politics, political correctness. I never knew that. I was just plunged into those situations, and I just got plunged into corporate UK, and I had to find my space. I had to navigate office politics, being a black person. So I have encountered so many things and so many sobering moments, and so many teachable moments and so many borrowed experiences, some that are not even mine, that have halted me in my tracks, where I've been like, hold up. There is so much to learn from this, So this book came about me reflecting the entirety of that journey. It's me thinking about life as I have lived it in the few years. I don't even know if I should. Sorry. I don't even know if I'm allowed to call my age few years anymore, but you know what? I'm young at heart. The few years that I've lived, have taught me so much. So I can't help but laugh because it was my birthday in November last year, and I remember talking to my best friend being like, girl, I feel like the age I'm turning is an accusation, you know. I feel like someone is saying, Petronella, this is your age, you know. It feels like an accusation, because how did we get to be this mature, the adults, like, you know. But anywho, the Lord is gracious and I'm excited for it. But the point that I'm making is this life has taught me so many things, you know, and the experiences that I've heard, and setting up a foundation, working with schools, working with school children. It's just been such a feeling, such a fulfilling, such a very complicated, layered process, and I'm here for it. And that's how we got this book. So a little bit more about the book. The book is divided into 4 sections. The first section is called motivational letters, and in this section the whole point is to inspire you, you know. The whole point is to motivate you. I think in this section, this is where the motivational speaker in me shines, you know, because I just love motivation. I listened to one of my all-time favorite psychologist speakers, Jordan Peterson, almost crying one time, talking about how he meets so young men and young people that are so demoralized because they've never had anybody actually say, I believe in you. They've never had someone say to them, your dreams are valid. So what I try to do in this section is to motivate you, inspire you, remind you of your value. Because here is the thing. The thing that you need to fix is your identity. The thing that you need to work on is your perception of yourself. If you don't fix your perception of yourself, if you don't get that narrative right, if you don't get right who you think you are, the world will give you an identity and it will stick. If you don't know who you are as a person and the value that you hold, you will not know how to negotiate for the respect that you are accorded and that you are owed. You will not know how to negotiate for deals that are right for you. You will not know how to negotiate for your voice in relationships, in meetings, because you are not certain of who you are and the value that you bring. So you need somebody to remind you that your dreams are valid, your opinions are valid, to tell you that God loves you. Like, people will change on you. People will love you today and then they will wake up and then they won't love you tomorrow. People will treat you based on how they are feeling that particular day. But God is consistent and he sees you for who you are. You need somebody who tells you that you are special. You are a solution to somebody, even if it's one person, even if it's 2 people. Anybody who you encounter who actually smiles because they've met you, you have done something with your life and your life means a lot. You need somebody who tells you that. You need somebody who tells you that whatever degree program you are studying is good. We have people saying that they are useless degrees. We have people saying that this and that. You have people all having opinions on the decisions that you've made and the person that you want to become. And in such a loud, criticizing world where everybody is selling this perception of perfection, you need somebody who reminds you that as flawed as you are amazing. And I think this is where the motivational speaker in me shines. So I think I've actually given away some clues on some of the letters, like God loves you so much. That's one of my favorite. And another one is be inspired by people's stories, but never copy them. Never lose your uniqueness. You know, never negotiate who you are. Negotiate with communication, negotiate with deals, but don't negotiate with your identity. Okay? And another one is your story is a beautiful one, and do not be afraid to take up space. Okay, so I won't give you spoilers. I said I'll read a few later on, but this is just sort of to give you the flavor of the sections. And the second section is called Important Life Lessons. And I think in this one, I just wanted to talk about the things I learned from experience, you know, some of those things that you just should know at the back of your mind, you know, some of those lessons that should just inform how you operate in spaces, how you show up, you know, based on what somebody else experienced. And An example in that one is be careful of underhanded compliments because they are worse than open hostility. I learned that the hard way, that people who give you a compliment that's slightly laced with some criticism. Someone will say, oh, you are pretty for a big girl, or someone will say, oh, you are an amazing singer, but can you record an album? Or someone will say, oh, you're a good writer, but can you write a whole book? Someone will give you a compliment but then immediately dilutes it. When I was young, I didn't understand the impact this had on people or on your self-esteem. But then as I grew up, it became clearer and clearer and clearer to me, and I realized how intentional I had to be in dealing and handling that. So that's a lesson. And I'll just give you a bonus one. It's never bargain from a position of being broke or desperate. I seen this when I was trying to get opportunities as a young person. When someone thinks that you were broke or desperate, or when somebody feels that you need something and you need it to the point of giving up your values, you never negotiate fairly with people that don't see you as an equal. So if you are broke, if you're desperate, don't bargain. People will abuse you, people will take advantage of you, because that's the banality of evil of humanity, isn't it? Like, people will just take advantage of you. That's no more spoilers. And the third section is called philosophies to live by. And this is interesting because you can make an argument that philosophies to live by is somehow closer to important life lessons. Yeah, they're close, but they're not the same. Hear me out. A philosophy is an unchangeable principle upon which your life is anchored. Like, a philosophy is something that your life is based upon. I always say this to people. People who do not have principles or philosophies guiding their lives, they are dangerous. Like, if you do not know what a person believes or what they are capable of or what will stop them or what doesn't stop them, if you're not clear of that in your head, if you don't know that person is dangerous because you do not know the lengths that they would go. Do you know? If a person hasn't said as a philosophy that I will never compromise my morals at the altar of acceptance, if they haven't explicitly made that clear, it means that they will still, if they have to, feed a habit. It means that they will take advantage of somebody if it will make them go ahead. It means that someone will compromise their values as a person if it will give them a leg up. So always evaluate a person's philosophies and principles. What do they believe about life? What do they believe about life? And what do you believe about your life? So what I did in this chapter is I wanted to talk about some of the philosophies that I live by, and then hopefully they will inspire you to develop your own, or you could copy one or two of mine. So one of the things, the first one is there are years that ask questions and years that answer. And this one is so important, y'all, because life is messy, There are times where you feel like things are consistently going wrong for you. And you think that, why is it always working for other people but not me? And in moments where you feel that strongly, you need to be reminded that it may not make sense now, but looking in retrospect, you will understand why it had to happen the way it happened. So take heart. Probably when things are going to shit. Sorry, I will retract that. Probably when things are going wrong, it's the asking years, sit with it, sit with the discomfort, sit with it, and soon you get to the answering years. Life is messy, there are seasons. Be productive in the season of your dysfunction as you wait for the future. And another one is, I love this one. It's cynicism and skepticism can you make you miserable. Be measured in both. Cynical people just don't see the good in most things, and skeptical people question everything. And I think it's good to have a little bit of both, because you have to be skeptical. You can't be naive. The opposite of skeptical, I think, is naivety, to me at least. You can't be overly naive and just assume the best of everybody, or assume the worst of everybody. You can't do that, you know. You have to have a healthy sense of skepticism, and you need to have a healthy sense of cynicism as well, but be measured, because if you become too cynical or too skeptical, you will miss the beauty of life, and I don't want you missing the beauty of life. Okay, okay, I'll stop. You know, I don't want to spoil, so I'm just giving you teasers. And the final section is called Remember Each Day. And these are just nuggets that I want you to remember as you're working out, brushing your teeth, going about your day, and just doing you, you know? And one of my favorites in this one is, when you go to new restaurants, never feel pressured to eat food you don't understand. One time I ordered, I don't even remember some variation of seafood, and I threw up, y'all. I literally threw up on the table, and I'm like, if I had just ordered potatoes and chicken, I would be okay. But then, because the people that I was with felt fancy, felt like they knew seafood, and I had to order seafood to belong, and in trying to be something else that I'm not, I ended up embarrassing myself. And I learned an important lesson that day. Never, ever, ever, ever try food you don't understand. And food is a metaphor in this instance. Never do anything out of character to try and fit in. Never be the person that you're not to try and sell a perception. Be who you are consistently in all situations. Be disturbingly secure and apologetically yourself in every circumstance. You owe it to yourself. So if you go out and everybody is ordering whatever they're ordering, if you don't know what shrimp is or what oysters are, my dear, order your chips and your chicken and you will just be fine. And another one is social media is not a real place. You know, it's just one of those things to remember, that your worth is not determined by the people liking your pictures, by strangers you've never met. You know, imagine ignoring the people that you have in your life, not paying attention to your friends, your family, and the people that love you, because you want to invest all your energy on posting content, posting the right pictures, so that you can appease strangers who you have never met and who you likely ever never met. Do better, y'all. So okay, this sounded longer than I thought it would. So I think I'm going to now read a few letters, you know, a few spoilers. No, I don't think at this point it's a few spoilers. I think I'm trying to give you a flavor of the book so you can understand more about it. So what I've decided and how I've chosen the letters that I'm going to read to you today is, I've chosen the letters that I've already posted about on my social media, that I've talked about when I've been invited to talk about the book. So I'm talking about the letters that I've already put out there. So this one is Letter 60, and it's page 125 in the book. The title of the letter is, Not Every Hand That Extends to Help is Genuine. African child, once I moved to the UK, I realized quite quickly how some people want to capitalize on our black faces and our suffering to raise money through campaigns and outreaches for their own not so selfless needs. Our suffering lines up their pockets. Our pictures of strategically taken, miserable, dirty looking faces are the perfect medium to garner sympathy that translates to thousands of dollars. In some cases, a few media posts that allow those who post us the platform to posture morally and deem themselves virtuous above those who don't post our pictures on their walls. African child, I once saw a video where a Chinese man gave children living in rural Malawi food and sweets, and made them record a video calling themselves dumb, stupid monsters in a language they did not understand. Not everyone is like this demented, quite frankly, evil Chinese guy. Some of them think it but never say it out loud. It broke my heart to watch those little girls happily smiling, not knowing that this guy claiming to be their friend didn't care one bit for them. He saw them as an opportunity to get some likes and grow his social media. My heart shattered to a million pieces because these girls looked exactly like the little girl on the cover of my book, From Gwakwe to Oxford, the girl who dared to dream. I realized that 2 decades ago, when I was growing up in Gwakwe, if someone had come to me with candy, it would have been me in that video. It could have been you, it could have been any one of us. They monetize our hunger, they monetize our poverty, they monetize our lack of essentials, they monetize our brokenness, they monetize our parents' inability to provide us with the niceties that they offer us in exchange for our dignity. They monetize our dirty looking borders. They do not look at us as kids curious and eager to belong in a world that he has not created a space for us. They don't see us as kids deserving of love and opportunities. We are the opportunity. African child, I am writing this letter to you as the African child who didn't become a poster child for their poverty pornography, but is one who made it, one who fought for and found her way in this world. I'm telling you to be careful of people who come claiming to help. Be careful of people who offer you food in one hand while holding a camera in the other hand. Be careful of people who want you to dance for your supper. Be careful of people who want you to trade your dignity for a piece of food. Be careful of people who ask you to cry in front of the camera. Be careful of people who ask you to tell exactly how bad your life is after they position the camera in front of your face. Not every hand that extends to help is genuine. Most of those hands just want to take. And all we can do is guard jealously our access, our pain, our tragedy. We negotiate for access on our own terms. Dear African child, I love you. Okay. Reading that back steered a lot of things for me. So I will read 5 letters for you. So I'm going to read the second one. I'm picking them randomly, by the way. This one is letter 93. Never copy an accent. Page 188 in the book. African child, one thing that makes me uncomfortable is watching people copying and faking accents. This is quite common, especially for us who live in the diaspora. Once we move to a new country, we somehow feel the need to alter our accents to sound like the people that we are now living with. I have people that I know who will be speaking to me normally in Shona. The moment someone else walks into the room, that perfect Shona accent suddenly shifts to an unrecognizable sound. You can literally see the strain on their faces as they are trying to drag the words or emphasize certain syllables in a way that is not natural to them. Please, African child, never do this. Never put yourself in a situation where you feel that for you to be accepted, you have to sound like someone you are not. Never put yourself in a situation where you feel embarrassed to speak in your original accent. You might think that copying an accent makes you sound sophisticated. Well, it does not make you sophisticated. It makes you sound silly. It makes you sound unsure of yourself. It also gives hints to people. It also gives hints of people pleasing and a low self-esteem. When white people come to Africa, they mess up the pronunciation of our names, our food, our streets, and our trees with impunity because they are content with how they speak. If others are comfortable like this, I think it gives you the right to speak any language in your accent. Your accent is not backward or unpolished. It is suited for your mother tongue. Remember that and always speak with confidence. African child, I love you. Okay, this is quite emotional for me, you guys. But anywho, we said 5 letters, so let's go to letter number 3. This is letter number 3 in terms of the ones that I'm reading for you, not the numbers in the book. Okay, so in terms of numbers in the book, this is letter number 4 and it's found on page 10. The title of the letter is God Loves You So Much. African child, people tend to forget the good we have done. People tend to hold us ransom to our past. People tend to judge us by our past mistakes. People have a tendency of treating us the way they feel about themselves or the way they are feeling that day. All this makes it difficult to fully depend on people. This is not me telling you to live life without trusting people. There are good people out there, but it is human nature to change and to be led by our emotions. This makes it hard for people to trust us and vice versa. But God is consistent and He sees you and all your flaws and He still calls you His own. When you're going through moments of sadness, discouragements, disappointments, and unhappiness, God's love is enough to see you through it all. African child, this is my most important letter to you yet. God loves you so much. The reason why I say this is my most important letter to you yet is that knowing that God loves you so much is the greatest assurance you need in this world. God's love is special because He is a constant. He never changes. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is true to His word, and He chooses you despite all your mistakes. See, African child, He sees your flaws. He sees your weaknesses, and He still calls you beautiful. He also sees the pain of today. He sees your hopelessness. He hears you cry yourself to sleep every night. He sees you when you're disappointed and you don't know how to believe through it all. And He has a better plan for you. He promises you a future with hope and an answer to your prayers and a hope for your salvation. African child, remember that He loves you so much and He chooses you every day. He honors humble beginnings and He is willing and able to tread our ashes for beauty. Okay. 2 more to go. The 4th one I'm going to read for you is letter 19 that you find on page 42. And the title is Correct Them Each Time. African child, I have learned that some of the most damaging words said to us will be done under the guise of jokes, playful teasing, and in some sophisticated cases, through what people choose to call constructive criticism, when oftentimes there is nothing constructive about the criticism, just blatant attacks. My advice when it comes to constructive criticism is never take constructive criticism from someone who has never constructed anything in their lives. So many dreams have been destroyed through underhanded compliments. Well, you are a good singer, but can you really produce an entire album? Well, you are a good writer, but can you really write a whole book? They give compliments with one hand and take them back with the other hand. The ease with which people are hypocritical and two-faced is really heartbreaking. We live in a society where the same people who laugh with you will laugh at you. The same people who support you will go behind your back to demean you. The same people who say they love you will use their mouths to profess their hatred for you behind your back. The same people who tell you you can do it will go behind your back and bet on everything that he or she is not going to do it. The same people who hold you with one hand will be pushing you with the other. In such a world, it is difficult to maintain a genuine belief in your sense of worth. And in those moments that you need to push back, And it is in those moments that you need to push back and correct the naysayers. Correct them each time. When they mispronounce your name, correct them. When they playfully dismiss your goals, correct them. When they give you underhanded compliments that are insulting or dismissive words, correct them. When they twist your words, correct them. When they misinterpret your interests, correct them. When they correct you, I'll read that again. When you correct them, you are also correcting the narrative they will be making you believe about yourself. Dear African child, I love you. And this takes us to the final letter that I'm going to be reading for you, the fifth one, which you find on page 44, letter 20. And the title is Always Read the Terms and Conditions. Letter 20. Always read the terms and conditions. African child, do you know that terms and conditions apply? Is one of the most common expressions you find on television and on the internet when buying something or when you are downloading an application. Let me tell you an interesting story. I recently watched an episode of a television series. The main protagonist of the episode had her life playing live on television for the whole world to watch in real time. They played out how she had been rude and mean to people at work, how she had been a general grump that whole day. She embarked on a quest to find out what had happened. How had it all gone monumentally wrong like that? She ultimately found out that she had signed over the right and access to your private life and everything she did on your phone when she had agreed to the terms and conditions of a particular application without reading them. Well, this is not to say that all of us will go something through like this. However, I believe it serves well as a cautionary tale against agreeing to terms and conditions without reading them. African child, be honest with me. How many times have you just hit the I agree button without actually reading anything? I, for one, have done it a couple of times, often without any consequences in the moment, but with the mistaken notion that it was convenient. Well, you can think that you're getting away with it because nothing comes crumbling down when you do it. It's only when you realize that they have access to your personal information or something similarly sinister that you begin to worry. If it's online terms and conditions, you can pretend that they don't exist. Well, I want to draw your life to the terms and conditions of life. Life has all sorts of terms and conditions. Some are clearly stated when you sign up for applications or download something. It is the implied terms and conditions that I want you to be careful of. Implied terms and conditions manifest themselves through those moments when people help us and hold us ransom with their help. When people expect us to compromise our morals for money. When people expect us to give up our identity to get their help. When you can tell from the tone of their voice that if they help you, they will never stop talking about it. If you make it in this life, they will tell everyone that if it wasn't for them, you would be nothing. When all they did perhaps was give you a pen. When people hold your dreams ransom because you need their help. When they badmouth you to everyone because you did not do what they wanted you to do. These, African child, are the terms and conditions of life. These are the terms and conditions that I want you to keep an eye on. Always read between the lines. Always listen to what people are saying beyond their words. Dear African child, I love you. Okay, y'all. This was an emotional roller coaster for me. This was an emotional journey for me. But what I wanted to do was give you a flavor and give you a tease on what the book is about and what to expect if you buy the book. The book is available on Amazon. You can order a copy from anywhere in the world and it would be delivered to you in 3 days. If you're in Zimbabwe, you can get a copy from Innov8 Bookshelf. bookshops, or you can DM me. This is the only time where I'm giving you people permission to come to my DMs. Don't misuse that. But if you want a signed copy, you can DM me and I can have my sister have one delivered to you anywhere in Harare or Zimbabwe. Before I wrap up, because I've been speaking for almost 40 minutes, if you can believe that, the final thing that I want to say is the title says Dear African Child, and I don't want this to be limiting for who the book is for. It speaks to the inner child within all of us. I chose African child because I'm an African child, because it's easier for me to relate and identify with that. But it can be for a European child, for an American child, for anybody. The book is for anybody seeking answers, for anybody seeking to understand the world and how they fit into it, seeking to understand how to navigate the world of opportunities, the world of growing up, the world of dealing with racism, dealing with imposter syndrome, dealing with self-esteem, dealing with... This book is everybody who is at any point in their life question their identity or been at crossroads when they have not known what to do. You know, I summarize this aptly when I say, as you read, I want you to know that the African child I'm writing to is layered. First, it is literally the African child living on the African continent. Second, it is for the African child living in the diaspora, struggling with fitting in, struggling with figuring out their identity or how to adapt to a world so different from home. Maybe it is the place they have known as home their whole lives, but it still feels foreign. Third, the African child is a metaphor for the inner child in all of us from any part of the world. I hope this video helped you understand what this book is about, and I hope it got your interest piqued. This is my passion project. This is a book I am proud of. I'm proud of all the books I've written, the ones I'm written, the ones... She said the ones I'm written. That's a sign that I've been speaking for too long. But I say this to say I am proud of this book and I would love for you to get a copy. Okay, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about then, but I know that it's going to be fun and exciting. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment, to share the video and like it.